Gladys Aylward, Part 4. Do you remember what job Gladys Aylward had? She went to many villages around Yangzhou, China, to tell them about how it was wrong to tie up baby girls' feet. While she did this important job, she did something even more important. She told people about Jesus. While she was doing this job, the people she spent time with began to respect her. God had more work for her to do, and He was going to give her a family. One day, as Gladys was walking home, a woman with a young girl dressed in rags blocked her path. "You can have this child for 35 cents, the woman whined. Gladys wasn't sure how to respond. This woman was selling a child? Gladys hadn't particularly wanted to take care of any children, but she knew God wanted her to do something for this child. She reached into her pocket and pulled out all the money she had with her, 5 Chinese coins, which was about 9 pence in England at the time, which is 14 cents then, so it would be around $2.50 today. "This is all I have," she said. The woman nodded and pushed the child into Gladys's arms. Gladys carried the little girl home and named her 9 pence. Gladys cared for her, and in a few days, she looked so much healthier. 9 pence could walk and talk with Gladys. Soon, a little boy named Les came to stay with them. More orphans continued to arrive until Gladys eventually had a large family of her own living at the inn. And the number kept growing, 10, 20, then 40 children. Gladys prayed to God one night, "Dear God, I don't think I can take any more. I believe 40 is a good round number for one woman. Please don't send any more." But God doesn't always answer our prayers the way we think He should. That year was the year World War II came to China. Have you ever heard of World War II? During this war, Japan fought against China and sent airplanes to drop bombs on Chinese villages. Gladys was at the inn with her family when bombs began to fall on her village. When the bombing was over, the town was in ruins. Even the inn was hit, and Gladys was knocked unconscious. When she awoke, she slowly pulled herself up. As soon as she could think clearly, Gladys ran everywhere with her little first aid bag, mostly bandages and a bottle of medicine that helps cuts and bruises. Hundreds of people were hurt or dead. It made her sad, and it made her think about all the children she had with her. She thought, the children are living in a war zone. Dear God, what do I do? Because of the war and the many adults who had died in the villages near Gladys, more and more orphan children came to live with her in the damaged inn. Soon, Gladys had 100 children. The Mandarin was a good leader of the villages and wanted to help his people. He had grown to respect Gladys and help her plan an escape with all the children. They decided Gladys and the children would walk across the mountains to a faraway city. Before they left, the Mandarin told Gladys he had chosen to believe in Jesus and follow Him. What great news! She and the Mandarin prayed together, praising God for what He had done and asking for Him to be with Gladys and the children on the long journey. They packed all the food they could carry and hurried off into the wild country of the mountains. They didn't have any cars or horses. They had to walk the whole way, and many of the children were still very little. Each child had a piece of blanket, a scrap of towel, a bowl, and chopsticks. The teenage boys carried food supplies. At first, the children laughed, skipped, sang songs, and talked about what their new home might be like. But by the 3rd day, the children were tired and hungry. They began to cry and complain. Some of their feet were cut and bleeding, and they were short of food and water. They even licked dew from rocks for a drink. They came to a big river, but there was no bridge to cross. Gladys was discouraged and didn't know what to do. As they sat by the river's edge, one of the girls said, "It's like Moses crossing the Red Sea." Gladys said, "I'm not Moses, and this isn't the Red Sea." But the girl responded, "But it's the same God." Gladys needed to be reminded that God was with them. Would Gladys and the children find a way across the river? Would they make it back to safety? Come back next time to find out how God continued to work in the life of Gladys Aylward.